up, everybody?
Hey,
Hi,
am I
Terry.
everybody? Or am I somebody?
Yes, you are all
Oh,
things to me.
thank you. Well, it's been
Mhm.
a while since I've seen you because I had to miss our Sunday night special show and I missed your face.
And I missed last Thursday for norovirus. I do not suggest that for anybody. It is indeed the worst weight loss plan ever. 0 out of 10. Don't recommend.
But on a
So,
positive note, you didn't have it while you were on the cruise in a little bitty bathroom.
correct.
So
I
look at
picked
the
it up
bright side.
probably at Chuck E. Cheese during a nephew's birthday party. Um, And I don't want to know how. I just know that I got it, and I'm glad I was home. And for 48 hours, my life was terrible. But now I'm back, and other than a small cold that I have, apologies in advance, I'm okay.
By the way, who are
Physically.
you?
What now?
I said, who are you?
I don't know. It depends. It's hour to hour at this point. Although I did read some of the very interesting some of the interesting conclusions from the JFK documents that were released, which is fascinating. Apparently, the CIA investigated Fidel Castro for quite some time, thinking he was linked to the assassination.
Yeah, I'm not going down that
Also,
rabbit hole.
no, but hold on, wait a second. The CIA apparently teamed up with like the mafia in order to assassinate Castro. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I don't have time for that, but I'm at least gonna say who
No,
I
there's a lot
am
going
in
on.
case there are people that are new here or just joining us for the first time. I am Terry True Crime,
Yes. And I'm
and this is
JT, and it's so good to see you. We have so much going on tonight. We've got some updates. Definitely the Chase Lackey update is happening tonight. We are also talking about a case that is infuriating, and that's of Uloma Curry-Walker. And you don't want to miss that at all. Please, 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 um, please, if you can, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I know you've heard that everywhere else, but whatever you need to do, please do that. It's a cheap, and by that I mean free way to support us. We've got a lot coming your way, TCWT wise. Terry, do you want to talk about the live stuff and things like that?
we do. So we have a live show in Austin, Texas, Dripping Springs, still Austin to me, on May 3rd from 3 to 5. You will have me and JT together in person, and there's going to be wine at a fabulous winery. So it's going to be fun. But we're covering the case of the Austin yogurt shop murders. And that's a big deal in this area because it is unsolved. But we're going to get into the deep dive of it, but we're going to have a little bit of fun as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm involved. There better be a little bit of fun at least. If
And
if
there's a
if
farm.
you are in different parts, right? If you're in different parts of the U.S. and you have potential show locations, whether it be winery, brewery, vineyard, distillery, let us know. You can
Mhm.
email producer Tara. She's Tara at tcwtmedia.com, and she would be more than happy to field those. And we're reaching out to all different types of places and different locations.
Yeah. I will
Um,
say be on the lookout this weekend on my social media. The owners of the vineyard invited me and Double H to come on Saturday to their spring equinox so we could taste some of the wines. They asked us to be their special guest, and I can check out the venue of where we're going to have our live show. And I get to drink wine, and there's animals. So there will be lots of picture taking.
awesome. Fantastic. And if you're new to us, we have a cornucopia of entertainment and different types of things that we offer here. We are doing a mini series on basically a new cult. Let's be honest. A lot of stuff that we talk about is like 2015 earlier, but this actually runs up to now. And it was discovered and uncovered in January of this year, and that is the Zizian cult. unveiled. We have a playlist on YouTube. You can check it out. We've done the first and second episodes. The episode 3 will be on Sunday, where we are going to talk about the rationalist rat fleet. It is exactly what you think it is and worse. So you can all of our shows on this channel occur at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And so you can always find us on here at that time. So as long as you know the day, you're going to know the time as well. So come back on Sunday, and we're going to be talking Zizzy and Cult. And this one's going to be fun because we are going to be going through the cult leader Ziz's blog. And boy, last week was hysterical. So if you're into funny and crazy, we got you covered. So and now I think Terry might have an update for everybody.
I do. So we've been saying for a while that we were going to do an update on Chase Lackey. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say thank you to everyone that has called in tips or that is sending us DMs, screenshots of stuff, and blowing up our DMs on Facebook, Instagram. I appreciate it. And we are actively looking into the tips. Even the ones that sound so outlandish, we still investigate it because you just never know what little piece of things, you know, will lead us somewhere. Now, for those of you that haven't heard of Chase Lackey or you don't know who Chase Lackey is, I would highly recommend you go and listen to the previous episodes on his disappearance. You can find those under our playlist where it says TCWT Investigates. So you can go and see them. We even had his parents on, interviewed them. There's a lot of great stuff there. But just real quick, Chase went missing July 4th weekend in 2017. Him and his adorable little pooch Champ. But the tips that have been sent in recently are similar to most of the previous tips. Now, I'm not going to give you the specifics because we are still investigating, but I want to share that, again, we are being told on a pretty consistent basis that Addison Guerrera and Matt Brewer are involved. Okay. And we have different levels of involvement that we've been told. So we are investigating all of that. Now, it is not a surprise to any of us working on the investigation that we continue to get tips about them. And I want to say, we are not saying, and we have never said that Addison or Matt killed Chase. However, I am going to say and go on the record saying they know what happened to him. Okay. However, they lie and say that they are his friends, yet neither one of them have really done anything to help find him. Okay. In the beginning, Addison had said that he called some people he knew in the drug business in Barrett Station, which is next to Crosby, to see if they heard anything. Now, Addison did give a name to the police that he called, but he wasn't comfortable giving the phone number. And I found who the person is because he lied to the police about the person's name. He kind of did a mixture of things. Also, Addison told the police that he was not in the drug business and that he tried to talk Chase out of it. Once again, we know for a fact, 100% that is a lie. It is, it is a bold-faced lie. Also, Addison had tried to tell the police and say that Chase was a meth head and was addicted. Another lie. Chase played a round of softball on Friday evening before he went missing. Let me tell you, Chase was fit, active. This was not somebody who's addicted to meth. Okay. So that was another lie. Now, I want everyone to just stop and think for a minute about why someone who is supposedly Chase's best friend would tell the police lies just days after he was reported missing. I want you to think about that because I have to tell you, my best friend goes missing. I am going to tell them whatever I have to. I don't care if it gets me in trouble. I don't care what. I am going to give them the facts and the truth about everything so that they can find her. And also, when you think about it, neither of those friends, Addison or Matt, have ever hung up any missing person flyers. They refuse to talk to me, even off the record. I mean, guys, if you've not heard of red flag alert, that is a red flag alert. And I am going to tell you that is not a friend. Okay. Now, let's talk about the other friend, Matt Brewer. Now, Matt had told the police just days after Chase went missing that he did not know Chase was in the drug business. He also told the police that Addison told him that there was meth found in Chase's apartment. Guys, we know for a fact that Matt knew Chase was in the drug business. Matt had even gone to California with Chase to the pot farm. Okay. Matt also told the police that he was sure that Addison was not in the drug business. Another lie. There was no meth in Chase's apartment. Matt did know. Okay. And guys, I could go on and on about all the lies, but in a nutshell, Addison and Matt have done nothing but lie to the police, to Chase's family, and to others. Okay. Now, I have been told that Addison has said that he just wishes this would just go away. And I want to say to Addison directly, because I want to probably bet my bottom dollar he is in this chat watching, or he is in this live stream watching. And I want to say to you, Addison, we're not going to go away until Chase's family gets the answers they want and deserve. And Addison, if you loved Chase like you have said you did, call me, send me a DM. Let's work together to find Chase. Okay. Because you knew Chase very well. You knew the drug business he was in. Okay. We could work together to find him. In considering, pretty sure you know, it wouldn't take us long. Okay. Now, I want you to think about this, Addison. You are a dad. Okay. What would you do if a friend of your son's could help you find your son when they went missing, but they refused? What would you do? I can tell you, I would burn the town down. Okay. So think about that. And Matt, same thing goes for you. You have several kids. And I've been told that you would hunt down anyone that would hurt one of your kids. Yes, I've been talking to somebody who's close to you, and they told me it was okay to say that. So I ask, why are you not helping us hunt down who hurt Chase? Okay. We will do the heavy lifting. You and Addison just need to talk to us and share what you know. And if you're worried about getting hurt by somebody, if you help us find Chase and find what happened to him, I will say that I will do whatever I can to make sure your family stays safe, because I do not want your family or your children to be hurt. But I do want you to man up and tell us where in the hell Chase is. Okay. Now, there is a guy who has been posting on social media about Addison and saying that Addison knows where Chase's body is. And I appreciate him being bold and not being afraid to say what he is thinking. Okay. That is gutsy. Okay. And as I mentioned, we have received a couple of other tips that we are currently investigating those tips. But guys, here's the thing, the more people are talking about Chase, the more people who are talking about Addison, the more people who are talking about Matt, the more tips that keep coming in. So we need to keep the conversation going, and we need to continue putting pressure on these so-called friends. And guys, if I ever have to eat crow because on that 0.0001% chance they don't know something, I will be happy to eat crow. I would even eat cow tongue again. Okay. But we need to keep this conversation going. It will be 8 years this July, and that is 8 years too long. And for those of you that live in Crosby, Huffman, Barrett, North Shore, that area, Many of you grew up in that area and you've grown up and you've started families and careers. That is something Chase never got the opportunity to do. Many of you could be in a place to do the right thing. You're hearing the rumors on the street. If I'm getting calls from friends that I went to school with years ago that I haven't spoken to, telling me they're hearing stuff on the streets, you can't tell me you're not hearing it. So, you being silent protects the bad people. Okay. Call us, tell us the rumor. I don't care if it's a rumor, we will track it down. Okay. So I am asking you, everybody, if you hear something, don't say, oh, I know so and so knows. They'll probably call or send a message. Don't. You reach out to us. Okay. You can call our tip line. And if you want your number to be hidden, you just dial star 67 512 522 8724. Okay. You can leave a voicemail. Okay. You can also send us a DM. I have somebody who set up a fake Gmail account and sent a tip in. And how do I know it was fake? Because when I hit reply to say thank you, the address no longer was good. If that's what you need to do, please, I want everybody to be safe. But also, guys, if you have any information about Addison Guerrero or Matt Brewer, we also want to be told. Okay. We've been given tips that Addison is still in the drug business. Um, if you've watched our investigations, you will know I went to his court date last year where he basically took a plea deal because he was in the drug business and he got caught with a lot of drugs and a lot of money. Okay. So if he is still in the drug business, Addison, if you're watching, you might want to consider getting out. Okay. Because if people are calling me to tell me that you're still in it, they could pick up the phone and call your probation officer. Okay. So why don't you do the right thing and make me your friend instead of your enemy? Because you helped me find Chase so that I can call Debbie and Craig and tell them exactly what happened to Chase. Your soul will be able to rest better and you have a better chance of going to heaven because not telling, you're going to go to hell and you're going to burn there. So, once again, I'm sorry, guys, I am so passionate about this. I have spent so much time in the last couple of years looking into this. And the fact that we're being told these two know and they're not coming forward is absolutely not acceptable. Not acceptable. Call us anonymously and tell us. Okay. So if you know anything, please call our tip line 512 522 8724, or you can DM me on any social media platform. You can find me at Terry True Crime, or you can message our True Crime and Wine Time, or you can even send me an email at terry@tcwtmedia.com. But guys, let's not hit July and have to have a vigil for 8 years. Okay. Let's find Chase before then. Sorry, guys. The fact that we are getting
Apologies.
calls from different people, messages from different people that they know
Right.
and want to still say they're his friends just makes me sick.
It's broken. I just want to say real quick before we move to our case tonight, I would never want to have Terry as an enemy. Not ever. She does not let up at all. There is no J in the leash. She keeps it tight. She's on it. And what you don't think she's on that too. If you can't think of it, she's still on that one too. So, yeah. All right.
I mean,
let's go ahead and
call
talk
in
a
the
little bit
tips.
about yeah. Let's go ahead and talk just a little bit about the wines that we chose.
Can I stop you real
Terry, do you want
quick?
to go
Somebody
first?
put a
Uh-huh.
comment in that says, let the police handle it. Beth, I'm sorry to say, I don't know if you live in Harris County. I don't know you. Harris County is not interested in returning phone calls, even when I've tried to tell people to call them. I even called in a tip to them, and it's been over a year and they haven't called me back. I have emailed the officer taking care of the case, not getting anything back. So we will find Chase on our own. And what law enforcement does after that, I personally, that's not my fight. My fight is to find Chase and what happened to him. And if we can, bring Chase home so his family can bury him and have the closure that they need. So I am sorry to say Harris County has too many other cases going on. There is too much crime in Harris County for them to stop and be able to look into this. So we
Let
have people who we've got the dogs who will come out there. We've got the cadaver dogs. We've got the search teams. Okay. We've got it all.
Okay.
And
Let me
yeah.
let me I'm gonna respond one time to one thing, and then we're gonna push on into the case. Yeah, they do. Everything's been shared. You have no idea the size and number of binders Terry has that have been shared and turned over to people. So people are aware we are not keeping things to ourselves. It's not what we do. We're in the habit of communicating with authorities rather than we know that it doesn't go the other way, but we let them know stuff that we know. And we don't need to be quiet. If you see something, say something. That's the point, and we need to hold these folks accountable to their job.
Now, I do want to
And
say
that's what I'll
one
say
thing.
about that.
People who are calling in and that I have interviewed and I've talked to, their names are nowhere on the documents. Everybody has a pseudo name. That is to protect them because when there's drugs involved, people can get hurt. I do not want to be responsible for somebody getting hurt, and I don't want to get hurt either or my family. But just so you know, they can subpoena me and try to get me to tell them who told me stuff. I have the right to not tell them because we are considered the press. So don't think you can't call and that I won't keep it because I had somebody, the investigator asked me a question. She's like, "Do you remember this?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "What was their name?" I was like, "I don't know. I can tell you their pseudonym." I literally got rid of their real names so that way they can come take all of these binders if they want. They're only going to get what's publicly shared. So let's move on because this case is just as bad as what's being done to, what's been done to Chase and the family.
Yes. Tell me what you're drinking, please, because I feel like we all need one.
We do. So I chose my wine because I like to think it matches me, guys. I am drinking Angels and Cowboys Rosé. So why do you ask? Because I like to think I'm an angel most of the time, and it's pink colored wine, and I kind of think cowboys are hot.
Well,
So
well, you know what they say. Save a cowboy, ride a nerd.
that's
That's the phrase, right?
no,
Is that it?
that's not the phrase. No,
No.
no. But I will tell you, this is wine is blushing in a veil of daydream pink, and it's a Sonoma County rosé, and it blooms with its nose of strawberry and Rainer cherry fruit, which I have no idea what that is. Light and refreshing on the palate with subtly perfumed red currant and raspberry, a splash of citrus and summerstone fruit. And guys, I am loving it. I think it's going to become a new favorite.
It sounds yummy. It sounds like a drink right up Terry's alley. Um, I chose my drink in memory of William Walker. He is the victim tonight. But we're remembering him tonight. He was a fireman. So what better choice than to pick a extremely dark red? In this case, it's Apothic Inferno. It's a robust red that has it's basically been aged in toasted whiskey barrels, and it is fantastic. It has full. I had like a white wine 2 weeks ago, and it was very 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 light. And this feels almost like a meal, and I like my
Mhm.
beer like that, and therefore oh oh oh, Josh Meander, yes. I do indeed probably go through at least a bottle during a show, but to be fair, it's like an hour and a half. So
I know, but it's good.
Um,
I've had that wine, and it's
yeah,
good, and it is heavy. It is one of those
it's like
bolder.
$13. I found it at Walmart. You could find it at Kroger or any other probably supermarket. So, all right. So,
Well,
Terry,
once
tell
again,
me about your initial interest in this case.
okay, my initial interest was you mentioned it. I didn't know anything
Yeah,
about this
that's right.
case. And I have to tell you, within 2 minutes of reading the first article about it, I was like, "Oh, Uloma Curry-Walker is I don't like her. She is the epitome of audacity and greed wrapped into a bad decision. She just is, and I can't stand her because let's be
Mhm.
real, we're gonna find out she hired her daughter's boyfriend and his friends to kill your husband for insurance money, and that is not only evil, but it's also stupid. I mean, it's so stupid that it's offensive. Guys, she didn't even bother checking whether the life insurance policy had her listed as the beneficiary before she got involved and orchestrated this hot mess. So I'm going to tell y'all when it all unravels faster than a cheap wig in a hurricane, she had the nerve to act surprised. Yes. And I'm glad that she was stupid because she got caught.
The the cheap wig line really kind of offended me.
Hey, I was thinking of my pink wig.
Fair. Oh, Rachel, we are talking about Uloma Curry-Walker. More details to come in like 30 seconds after I finish talking about this. So I know that I announced this that before we were doing one case an episode, we were doing two. We each had one, and that was one of the ones that I picked. And it just kind of this is the one we picked for this. And I stumbled across this the same way most of us find ourselves entangled in true crime rabbit holes. I was pretending to do something productive. So in my search for a case, I ran across this woman who, rather than endure the mild inconvenience of an amicable divorce, orchestrated this murder for hire plot so convoluted it made Rube Goldberg machines look like IKEA instructions. The sheer audacity of what she thought she could get away with is just mesmerizing. And what really pulled me in was the incompetence, the absurdity of this plan. The tragedy was horrible. It never, ever should have happened. And this wasn't a crime of passion, it was a crime of extreme laziness. It was a
Mhm.
desperate attempt at a shortcut gone spectacularly wrong. And that, I think, is what really drew me to it, the way it showcased human nature at its most absurd. And with that, we're going to get into the plot you won't believe, Uloma Curry-Walker.
I'm
Now,
going to warn you now.
Uloma Curry-Walker, we're going to...
Sorry, I'm going to warn everybody now. I'm really hot under the collar about this woman. Okay. I'm going to try really hard to keep my commentary to myself, but this woman broke so many of my personal integrity lines. I want to go to the prison
Yeah.
just so I can slap her across the face.
No bulletproof glass will protect is safe from Terry's fist. Yeah, and if you are new here, just know that you've heard some jokes already. We make fun of the criminal and their idiocy. We do not make fun of the victims or the victims' friends or family. We don't. That's our rule. As you can tell, we're very victim focused here, very victim centric. However, we do make fun of the criminals, because
Mhm.
friggin' they deserve it. So let's talk about Uloma first, because there's very little that I was able to find on her. She was born around 1971, and she was a resident of Cleveland, Ohio. Uloma had been divorced and had two children, including her daughter named Jackie, or Jacqueline, who is going to come into play in this story. I think if she didn't, well, I wouldn't be mentioning her name. We would have just kept her anonymous, but here we are. We're going to move straight on to William Walker. William Walker was born August 2nd, 1968, to Evelyn Walker and brother to Luane and Latasha Walker. He was the father and stepfather of Melody Walker, Christopher Walker, Jessica Cedric Hall, Macklin Curry, and Jacqueline Hines. He was the grandfather of Macklin Curry, who I do believe was a junior. What a handsome fella, too, right? Like, when I think firefighter, that's the kind of person I think of. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that he is one, right?
I mean, he just looks like one of those guys that you want to be friends with.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of the general opinion across the board, no matter who they talk to, and everybody that I saw was like, he was a good guy. In addition to his family, he was also the 47th past master of Ecclesiastes Lodge, 120 free and accepted Masons, which was part of the Prince Hall Freemasonry. That's a very long title to just say he was in the Masons, and he was a past master. He was a 15-year veteran of the Cleveland Fire Department. My grandfather was a veteran. I can't remember, 25 years, 30 years. So I had a tie to this case through that. Nothing like being an Irish fireman in Niles, Ohio. His colleagues remember him as a committed professional who took immense pride in his work and service to the community. And he was also known for his caring nature, often bringing humor and camaraderie to his team. And on top of that, he was a respected member of that community that he was in. I mentioned this already, but there were so many positive things to say about him. And sometimes I'll make a joke, like, just one time I want somebody to be like, he was a terrible person. This was not a terrible person. Like, can you imagine somebody asking, like, who was this person? Did you know them? And they're a victim. And somebody was like, yeah, he was bad. Like, I can't imagine that happening. But like, this guy was genuinely a good guy.
I mean, he sounds like a really, really good man. And unfortunately, we're going to learn that Uloma did not deserve him. She did not deserve this man. So I am going to tell us about their relationship and how they met. Okay. They met in 2005. Guys, they kind of ran in the same social circles and they were both looking for a second chance in love. And they had a lot in common. And if we think about it, you have that first initial attraction. You look at somebody, you see them, they're attractive to you. And then you find out you have all these things in common. It kind of builds from there. They love to go salsa dancing. And I have to tell you, I love that because salsa dancing is so much fun. But they had a very loving, committed relationship for 8 years, but they had no plans to get married, okay? That was until Uloma told Will that she had stage 4 breast cancer and that her insurance would not pay for everything. So, Will, being the guy, he's a firefighter. He loves to save people. He wanted to save her. So, the couple decided to get married and they eloped to the courthouse. And
yes,
the first few months.
Sorry, Joshua mentioned that you have to have a ton of compassion to be a firefighter. Go out of your way to help people on the daily. Absolutely, 100%. You
Agreed.
certainly are not in it for the pay. That's for darn
No,
sure.
you're not. And you're not in it because you want to be on a calendar. There's my fireman joke of the day.
Well, you're on it because Terry wants you to be on a calendar.
That's right.
Reality.
That's right. But the first few months as newlyweds went well. Will was ready to start their married life together, and the couple purchased another home out in the country to get out of the neighborhood that they lived in because it, wasn't great, and they were looking forward to retiring. Unfortunately, little did Will know, his new bride was in severe financial debt and that they could not afford this new home that they had just purchased. And we will learn that is not the only secret and lie that this biatch was keeping. And yes, I just called her a biatch.
This bunny boiler.
She's beyond Bunny. I mean, I can't, she's
She's
beyond
bunny
Bunny
boiled
Boiler
over.
and batshit crazy. I don't know. I
She,
never thought I would have to come up with a word that went beyond Bunny Boiler, but she's it.
she
She's
is
it.
bunny boiled over.
She is.
So things are going to escalate quickly here, but on November 3rd, 2013, Ryan Doherty shot and killed William Walker in Walker's driveway. Doherty was recruited by Christopher Hine and paid by Chad Paget to kill Walker. Hine and Paget were cousins. Paget was in a relationship with Uloma Walker Curry's daughter, and that was Walker's stepdaughter. So Doherty, Paget, Hine, and the daughter all pleaded guilty to crimes in connection to his death. Hine and Paget enlisted Hine's cousin, Derek Yanetta, to drive Doherty and Paget from the west side where they lived to the east side where Walker lived. Yanetta at the time didn't know what the real purpose of the trip was. All he knew was that they needed to go see a guy about a horse. I don't think that's what they said, but that's usually the excuse. You ever have somebody like have to hard out and they're like, I got to go see a guy about a horse, but they don't actually have a reason.
But yeah, I get
it. So that's not really true. He believed that they were going to go buy some pot. Okay. So Paget asked Yanetta to park on Lamson Road. Now, Lamson Road can be seen on this next slide here. It's the sign. So they parked there around 8:30 p.m. Doherty got out, went to Walker's backyard, and he hid behind a garbage can, just like any courageous human being would. Although at this point he's taking money to kill somebody, so not so courageous. As Walker was returning home, Doherty shot him multiple times and then ran away. Doherty and Paget returned to Yanetta's car. Now, Yanetta, who thought they were just buying pot, this got extreme pretty freaking fast. And once he learned that they shot Walker, he ordered them out of his car. He said, you know that meme, the gif of the guy going, out, get out? That is exactly that's how I see Yanetta doing this. He said, get out of the car. Doherty and Paget took the rapid train home. It's
okay.
Yeah.
I just got to tell you, I pictured them scurrying like roaches when the lamps turn on, because they're on Lamson Road.
Yeah.
Okay. I know I'm not funny, but I try every now and then. I mean, I literally, because you turn on the light and the roaches go. Phew. They look like
I try
roaches.
to not find myself in locations that include roaches. So I don't have much of a point of reference.
It's common Texas tree roaches. Our roaches in Texas fly. So they will fly and hit you in the face and land on you. Oh, yes. And they are big.
This isn't in this.
Big
This
old
wasn't in this.
Texas tree roach. I know it wasn't what we were going to talk about, but yeah, we have Texas tree roaches. When you come in May, we will try to find you some.
I've changed my mind. Tara's going to do this one on her own. I am not going to be there. There is, you know what? It's already taken everything in me to do it.
Honey, we're under contract. We're under contract. You have to go.
Is my plane going to go down due to roach? I just got to know, you know, like, and if there are so many roaches there, is that where Keith Richards is based? Because that man always had a roach, no matter where he was. Literally one of my most favorite Robin Williams jokes is at the end of during the apocalypse, it'll just be Keith Richards and a roach, and he's going to look down and go, I smoked your uncle once. That's my favorite Robin Williams joke. Anyways, moving on. We're going to flip on back. So Uloma was inside the home at the time, and she heard Walker screaming. She came outside, and she found him lying in the driveway with multiple gunshot wounds. And she called 911 and requested help. And we're going to listen to that now.
I can't hear you. What's going on?
She got shot, please.
Who got shot?
My husband, please. Please.
Who shot your husband? What's your husband's name?
William Walker. He's a firefighter.
There's a few things here that you'll notice, and these were also brought up in the trial as well, and that is her repeated use of please. And you know, I, I believe that this is the majority of the clip, but there is some more, I think,
There
elsewhere.
is more of it.
It's hard to find the entirety of that clip. But she also said, "I love you" repeatedly. I mentioned this only because, again, it was mentioned in the trial as being 2 red flags and deceptive indicators as well, which, upon first thinking about that, I was like,
Mhm.
now I got to watch what I'm saying when I'm on the phone with police. Oh my God. And if you've seen The Staircase, you do. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I
What did
mean,
you have?
this woman did not love him. And the fact that she kept saying it, so there is where I like heard a little bit of it, and you can hear while she's on the phone. She's like, "I love you," you know. No, she didn't. And all
No.
I could think is, I hope to God he had already lost consciousness and he couldn't hear her.
Yeah. Yeah. She got real calm real fast to say
Uh-huh.
his name and who he is.
Mhm.
And there may have been some editing done there from where we pulled the source, what source we pulled it from, but
Mhm.
still, to go from, I mean, he's there in front of you, and you've gone from hysterical beyond understanding to William Walker, he's a firefighter. Like,
Oh, just wait. You're gonna
uh,
find out what she
um,
does.
yeah. So paramedics came quickly to Walker's house. He was initially unresponsive. His condition worsened on the ride to the hospital. He arrived, he was taken to the trauma bay. It seemed like he was stabilizing, and the staff placed him on a stretcher and transported him from the emergency room for surgery. After that started, his condition deteriorated quickly. He was returned to the emergency room in an attempt to stabilize his condition. And at 11:42 p.m. on November 3rd, 2013, William Walker was pronounced dead.
Guys, I want you to stop and think, because those first responders knew him and people knew him. And I watched a show about this and they talked about how many firefighters there were in the lobby. I'm sorry, it just breaks my heart. Now, like we said, their home was on Lamps On, so Lampson Road in Cleveland, Ohio. And it was a two-story home with upstairs and downstairs. Now, the first responders all knew who Walker was, and they said they immediately felt that something wasn't right. Guys, I say all the time on Midday Missing, trust your freaking gut. We've got it for a reason. But one of these reasons is because Will was covered in blood, yet his wife, who was acting all like she was upset, she was as clean as a whistle. And guys, I'm
I,
sorry.
point, point, point of note, there aren't that many syllables in wife in Cleveland. Just throwing that out there. There was wife.
Why? Hey, I could say it how I want to, but she was as clean as a whistle,
You
guys.
can.
I mean, what wife, especially a new wife, I mean, they had only been married for a couple of months, wouldn't go to their husband and hold them in their arms and try to stop the bleeding and blubber. Because let me tell you, if that happened to Double H, I would be covered in blood because I would be holding him against me, putting my hands on his chest. I mean, I,
If that happened
but
to
the other
Double
reason
H,
it was
those folks wouldn't have
suspicious,
gotten away.
that's true. Another reason it was suspicious, this biatch is a nurse. Guys, her training should have naturally kicked in because you train so much that this stuff happens. You just instantly jump into that save mode. So they did say she was very distraught and seemed upset, and she rode with Will in the ambulance. They gave her the benefit of the doubt and thought she was in shock. They're nicer than me because I would have been like, "You're a nurse and you're clean as a whistle. You're involved." That's why I'm not in law enforcement. Now, at the scene, officers found 9mm shell casings. Okay. And the investigators immediately start talking to the family and friends to learn about Will and the family. That's a given, right? Now, Uloma's daughter lived with them, okay? And her boyfriend, Chad Paget, would stay with them for weeks at a time. Now, Paget and Jacqueline would stay downstairs, but guys, he also sold marijuana during that time. But here's the part that also just gets me. When he would stay at their house for weeks on end, he never had any interaction with Will. He never even said hello to him because he knew that he wasn't accepting of his relationship with his stepdaughter. But guys, that is another red flag to me because I wished Will would have told them, hey, if you don't respect me in my own home and say hello to me, you can get the hell out. Just saying, I would
Yeah,
have. But
I'm I'm gonna call Paget Patchy from here on out, because
Patchy, oh,
that's
I
what his
like
beard
that.
reminds me of.
Okay, I like that. Now, Walker was known to have a strict parenting style, but you got to remember this was his stepdaughter. Okay. Now, they investigated several potential leads. One being a car dealer who Will had problems with over a car purchase. So this dealership screwed him over, but that turned out to be a dead end. The next, they looked into the neighborhood because it was a very rough part of town. And guys, shootings were not uncommon. But when they started talking to people, once again, we learned how wonderful he was. And they said they did not believe that Will was killed in the neighborhood by neighbors because he was seen as one of the good guys and he often helped others out in the neighborhood. And he liked to resolve disputes with people and people looked up to him. So
Yeah,
they said that couldn't be it.
if I had a battle with somebody and he stepped in, I'd be like, all right, it's not that important. I'm out, everybody.
Yeah. Like, peace out. But months went by, and then the 1-year anniversary came and went, and it was a plea to the public for more information. In December of 2014, a reward was offered, and not long after that, a man went to the police and told them that a guy named Patches, is that what we're calling him? Pudgy Patchy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Approached one of his friends and offered him money to kill Will Walker. See, guys, it just takes that one person doing the right thing. So detectives then spoke with that friend and he confirmed the story about Paget offering him money to kill Will and that it was Padgy's girlfriend's mom who wanted the killing done. And guys, as you can imagine, that got the detectives excited and they started investigating Padgy, his girlfriend Jacqueline, and Uloma, her mom, Will's wife. Now, during the investigation, it was learned that Walker had problems with Padgy. And guys, is anyone surprised by that? He doesn't say hello to you in your own house. Anybody surprised that they had problems? Okay. It was revealed that Padgy had sent threats Walker's way. And Will Walker took those threats seriously. You know, he didn't just blow it off because he knew something was wrong with this guy. Now, police subpoenaed Chad's cell phone records. And guys, I would just say, just keep being stupid, okay? Because his cell phone told a story. And not only did they have calls to look into, but they also had a buttload of text messages. Guys, I mean a large quadruple size buttload. Okay. And these text messages confirmed that Padgy, Jacqueline, and Ryan Doherty were involved. Okay. And police were well aware of who Ryan was because he was a known troublemaker in the area. They were like, yep, we know this guy. Well, then police subpoena Uloma's cell phone records along with her financial records. And this is where it starts getting interesting, guys, because police question Uloma about her financial situation. And she says, I have no financial issues. Everything is fine. Well, guess what, guys? The police knew she was a big fat liar and that she was in debt up to her big old lying mouth. Okay. Now, buckle up, people. And I hope I have enough wine in my glass because let me tell you what else this biatch lied about. This biatch did not have breast cancer. Okay. And for those of you that are new here, this shit pisses me off. Okay. As a cancer survivor, I find it deplorable for people to pull this shit because so many people want to keep their cancer diagnosis to themselves because they're worried about people judging them, feeling pity for them. People are scared to donate money to cancer survivors because of people like this biatch who faked it. Biatch had nothing wrong with her besides the fact she's a bunny boiler, batshit crazy person. Now,
this will either go well or not well, and I'm going to take a chance. The only thing malignant was her personality.
I can go with that. I can go with
All
that.
right, as long as if I have Terry approval, I feel invincible.
I mean, I normally say I don't wish cancer on anyone. I may have to rethink that statement.
Well, we can wish norovirus. I'm fine with that.
Norovirus?
For sure.
Okay.
That's got to be fun in prison.
Okay, yeah. Okay, norovirus. So, guys, as we hear and we see too often, investigators did not have enough to hold her based on just her financial records for being a big old fat liar. They needed time to finish going through everything. Because when I said there was buttloads, there was buttloads. Excuse moi. So then in August, police get a DNA sample from Paget. And guess what, guys? Ding, 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 ding. It is a match to the bullet casings from the crime scene. Yes.
It's almost like you shouldn't touch bullets if you're going to shoot them.
Okay.
Put on some gloves.
I mean, we had to stop our special about a perfect crime because we were giving away too many tips to help people get away. We need them to keep being stupid so they can get caught. So
maybe his gloves matched his beard.
Maybe. Now, the police were finally able to get through the buttload of records and they were shocked. But let me tell you, they did a happy dance. I just hit my microphone. They did a happy dance because they saw a text message that good old Paget sent right after Will was shot that says, "We have a body."
I mean, that's so dark. It's so dark. It's like we have a winner. We have a, you know what I mean? Like you don't just say that about you.
But it also tells you that he didn't feel bad about it. There was no, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Oh my God, I regret what I did. There was none of that. For you to send a message saying we have a body is, yeah. Now, he was immediately arrested. And guys, just look at him. He'd have decided to sing like a bird. He just let it all come out. Okay. Now, Mr. Paget laid out the entire horrible plan in detail in his confession. Okay. Now, Uloma lied again because she had told Paget that her husband Will abused her, which was a lie. And he tells that he contacted his cousin, Christopher Hine, and asked him to kill Walker. And guys, stop and think about it. What kind of phone call is that to call up a cousin? Hey, dude, you free on Saturday? I need you to kill somebody for me. Can you do that? I mean, what kind of phone call is that? I don't know. But Christopher had planned to kill Will in October 2013, but he lost his nerve and he couldn't do it. He had an ounce, in his body of not to do it. Are you going to say
Hey Terry,
something?
can I just take 1 second and say, for those of you who are asking about the update to the Chase's case, we did do it in the beginning, but if you stick around, we'll do an abbreviated update at the end as well. So you can always check it on the replay crew, but we'd love you to stick around. And Terry will do kind of like a kind of an abbreviated version of it at the end.
I mean, I'm hot about the Chase stuff, so I can probably recite in my sleep so much stuff. But now, Paget had called Doherty and offered to pay him to kill Will. Okay. Doherty agreed to kill Will in exchange for a payment. Now, Paget gave Doherty a gun that he got through Hine, through his cousin. Now, Paget showed a check for $1,000 that he claimed Uloma paid him. Okay, that was his payment. So it was discovered that even though Chris Hines was scared to do the shooting himself, he had no problem securing the gun to be used. Okay, because guns kill people, anyway. So the police were able to take all of the cell phone records and build a timeline and identify everyone involved and where each of them were during the murder. Guys, cell phones tell when you're in your bathroom. Okay? Just know. So they learned that Uloma waited until Paget and Doherty were clear of the crime scene before calling 911. So, guys, she let them scurry like cockroaches. Okay. But this was a light bulb moment for the investigators because now it all made sense to them why Uloma had zero blood on her at the crime scene. She was not in shock, guys. She was the one who put the murder in motion, and she did not try to save her husband, who was her husband of 4 months. 4 months, guys, all because she wanted him dead so that she could get her hands on his $100,000 life insurance policy that she wasn't even the beneficiary of. Not the sharpest crayon in the box. So police arrested Ryan, Jacqueline, and Uloma because they already had Paget in. And guys, guess what the biatch Uloma did during her interrogation? Anybody want to guess? Well, so you can't guess. So you're not allowed to guess. Let me tell you, the bitch blamed it all on her 17-year-old daughter. Okay, guys. I'm sorry.
She said the bitch blamed it.
I did. Sorry. Because this makes her even more of a horrible person. Not only does she lie to get this man who loves her to marry her, she plots to kill him, recruits and lies to her daughter's boyfriend and says he's beating her to do all of this. And then she turns around and blames it on the child she gave birth to. This woman does not have a bone of good person in her body. Okay? In my opinion, she is a big old liar, and she was charged with murder.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we're gonna hop right through to the trial. I think it's incredible that this trial included all the defendants, but that's not how the trial ended up. She definitely got her just desserts in regards to the folks she thought she was safe planning with. Hours after jury selection was set to begin in her trial, the final person in on this plan agreed to testify against her. So each and every person who was a co-defendant made a deal, pleaded guilty, and testified against her. And Terry's going to have a few more details on that soon enough.
Oh, yes, I do.
So, I believe you. I believe you. The prosecutors, no. So no, there was no gas math. For those of you who are new here, that would be the Jodi Arias case. There was like a day of testimony where they did like gas receipts. There was no gas math. Other than her hot air. The prosecutors planned to prove their story using data that they were able to download from the cell phone towers, as Terry had mentioned. These records showed those text messages sent between Uloma, her daughter, Hine, Paget, Doherty, in the days before the killing and in the minutes before the shots were fired and then after. And they found Paget's DNA on the bullet casings. In addition, the prosecution also was going to lean heavily on testimony of Uloma's daughter, Jacqueline. They also were going to rely on the testimony of the others, as I had mentioned. Prosecutor, Assistant Cuyahoga County Prosecutor Blaze Thomas, what a name, planned on analyzing Curry-Walker's behavior in the minutes and months. What a suit. What a suit.
Say, hold on. I have to say this because it just popped into my little small brain. How fitting is it that a fireman who is murdered, the prosecutor of his case, his name is Blaze?
Right? Right?
I mean,
Right?
that just hit my little bitty brain. It might be the wine.
Well, I mean, he's like one goatee away from John Thomas, but I'm sure he is a lovely gentleman. I have no doubt. So Blaze Thomas planned on analyzing Curry-Walker's behavior in the minutes and months after William Walker's death. As you can imagine, because William was a firefighter, they came out in droves, as did paramedics who arrived on the scene. So there were a lot of people to see what she was doing. One instance of this was that Uloma asked a friend to keep the family's belongings. The friend then rented a storage unit and paid about $800 to store the item. And then Uloma never repaid her and moved right on to North Carolina. Then Uloma Curry-Walker's defense attorney, Robert Dixon, which is appropriate since she's a dick, said in his opening statement that the defense's strategy was going to be, he looks, I'm sure he is a very lovely gentleman, but he looks like somebody who would knock on my door and I wouldn't answer. Like, I don't trust him or his tie or the size of the knot. But anyways, Robert said that in his opening statement that the defense's strategy was going to be to point out the extreme benefits that the co-defendants received in plea bargains in exchange for their testimony against Curry-Walker, which to me is the defense's version of no, or your mom. That to me is like, if that's where you're going with, I'm sorry, like there's no chance. He did say they weren't going to argue whether Doherty killed Walker and the role that Curry-Walker's co-defendants had played in her husband's killing. So they said, yep, for sure. And then Dixon said that at the end of the trial, he believed the jurors would see that prosecutors failed to produce evidence of her involvement. I don't know if he hadn't seen the actual evidence. Did he not look at it? Did he not do his job? The woman behind Uloma looks a hell of a lot more worried than he does. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he should have talked to her at least once.
I mean, I know defense attorneys get paid to defend their clients to, the best of their ability, but I can't help but wonder if he was having to swallow back bile as he talked, if he wasn't going, because when he saw that stuff, he was like, yeah, I don't know why I just said that.
And I have I don't have a soft spot for defense attorneys. I know they're in a hard place. Like, this is a difficult thing, and everybody's immediately going to be against you because people who don't understand trials or don't understand the process or procedures, they just immediately assume the defense thinks they're innocent or they're gonna, yeah. But that's not the case. Like I've had the chance to interview Kirk Nurmi, who was Jodi Arias's defense attorney, and he is a lovely gentleman. And that entire defense was basically pushed and run by Jodi. Right? Because you have to defend them in the way that they want to be. And she thought she was smarter than everybody. But Kirk is a lovely gentleman, and he is very down to earth, and he knows what's up, right? So I digress. The trial lasted a grand total of 8 days. Jurors deliberated for less than 2 hours.
That was 2 hours.
She was convicted on the Friday that would have been the couple's 4-year anniversary. which is poetic justice. Also, the fact that she was in jail for like almost 4 years before the trial is both worrisome and timeline wise, but also like cool. When the verdict was read, and this was the only time during the trial that she cried. She didn't show emotion throughout any of the testimony, through any of the. I'm sure there were crime scene photos. I'm sure there were autopsy photos. I have no doubt. Nothing then, but when they said you're guilty, she cried because of course she did. She was caught.
I mean, her daughter testified against her. If that doesn't make you cry, but I don't know why. I'm on the other side of poetic justice than you because it kind of bothered me that they convicted her on what would have been their 4-year anniversary. And I say that because it didn't mean shit to her that anniversary. She's a heartless person.
No.
And she only cried because
No, and
she was caught. And I felt bad for his family because normally an anniversary is something you celebrate. But that's just because I'm a softie.
No, absolutely.
And I love love stories.
No, you're right. And she
I
didn't
am
give a
right.
crap.
I'm
And I'm
always
sure
right.
that his family. Well, yeah, I know that. Well, that's why I said it. But I'm sure, his family wishes that wasn't necessarily the case. But also, like, it's mostly just like justice. Like that's the whole thing that got her thinking she could do this, and it's just So.
Mhm.
Uloma post guilty verdict was facing a maximum life in prison, a maximum of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Sentencing was carried out by common pleas judge Sherry Madej, although I don't think there was anything common about this. But that's what they're called. That's what they call her up there, is the common pleas judge, at least at that point. So tell us what happened.
So Chris Hines, Chad Podgett, and Ryan Dory struck a deal, and they all got 18, or those three got 18 to 28 years. Now, some people do not agree with this next thing that I'm going to say, so I'm going to just tell y'all to hold on. But Jacqueline, because she was only 17 at the time, she was treated as a juvenile, and she was given 1 month in juvie. So yeah.
I have a question here, and I feel like I should know this, but I'm gonna ask anyways for everybody's benefit. Jacqueline was basically like, did she take for everybody who might be asking, was there an active part taken by Jacqueline, or did she just happen to be the girlfriend of the dude that Uloma reached out to?
So Uloma came up with the idea while she was in the car with Jacqueline and Pageant and said, "Hey, I think we should kill Will and get rid of him."
So she was in on it.
So she was
Okay.
in on it, but she also Uloma was not a great mom. And, Jacqueline had been manipulated. I mean, she was still a 17-year-old child, and that's why they gave her a month in juvie.
Correct.
So now Uloma was sentenced to life in prison without parole, and she did not get the life insurance money because, first of all, you can't get the money if you're in prison, but also because she wasn't even smart enough to make sure she was listed as beneficiary. And guys, shoot me if you want to or come at me, but that makes me even more happy because do you know how pissed off she had to have been when she found out she wasn't the beneficiary? Just think about it.
And she couldn't do nothing about it.
I bet she threw a 2-year-old tantrum like you've never seen.
And that's why her daughter testified against her, because of that reaction right there.
Yep. Yep.
Oh man. Well, so in terms of some of the takeaways, or at least some of the analysis, I did a little bit of research into the murder for hire. Amat and Surratt from 2024, so pretty recent study. They actually looked at 365 cases of spousal murder for hire in the U.S. from 1990 to 2023. 50% of those cases involved women hiring a hitman. Now, this is more than a spontaneous crime of passion. This requires, as we know, premeditation and careful orchestration. There are usually clear motivations and a false sense of security. So a lot of these folks that do this, including Uloma, she's no exception to this rule, they believe that by hiring someone else to commit the crime, they distance themselves from being responsible. If somebody else does it, there's no way I can be guilty because I'm not the one who pulled the trigger. No, you're just the one who basically ensured that it happened. And there's a lot of really dark stats in that study, but the median price for a hit was about $5,500. Now, the prices did go up about as high as $2 million. Which, if you have $2 million to spend, just leave the spouse, please. So, but
I mean, I'm not an expert on any of that, but I am going to just go out on a Terry limb and say, if you're paying just the median mere price of $5,500 for a hit, you're going to get caught. And they have no motivation to not rat you out.
It's a whole here's your sign moment, right? I mean, it's a 100% here's your sign from Bill Engvall. Like, if you've been paid $5,500 to kill somebody, here's your sign.
Yep.
So this is no surprise to anybody, probably, if you spend like 2 hours in true crime. And Terry's going to talk about this in a second. But the top reason for spouses hiring hitmen was a life insurance payout. And that was 37.9% of those 365 cases. And I'm not going to do the math. You go ahead and do it. That's a lot.
That is a lot. Now, we're going to find out. We know she didn't get the life insurance money, but she did get some stuff. So Will's fellow firefighters, they believed Uloma was grieving. And remember, they had just purchased that new home. They helped her pack that house up, the old house up, and helped her move to the new house. All the firemen went over there and did that for her. And guys, she did receive benefits from the firefighters fund of about $50,000. So she did get
She should have to
some
pay
money.
that back with every license plate she makes.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way that they can get it back.
So let's go ahead and do this because I know I'm audibling a little bit. Let's go ahead and close out this case, and then we'll do a quick recap on Chase's case because I know some folks did stick around for that. And thank you so much for doing that, by the way. We really appreciate it. So in terms of, closing out this case, we spent the entire live stream untangling the absolute mess that was Uloma Curry-Walker's murder for hire scheme. I mean, when researching this, I found myself sitting in silence, staring at the abyss of my living room at midnight, wondering how someone could possibly get to the point where this seemed like the best option. And it's one of those cases where I'm glad that I can't see how that could be. I'm very glad that I can't do that. Of course, it didn't end well. It ended exactly how every terrible plan ends. Badly and with a stack of prison sentences. I mean, it is almost maddening how predictable it was. And honestly, she probably thought she was pretty damn smart, but she's a cautionary tale. The tragedy is that we lost a goddamn hero. We lost a hero. We lost a father. We lost a human being who deserved way more time on this earth. And it just, man, I got emotional. I didn't expect to get emotional on that one. Sorry. It really, really just pisses me off. Uloma, the bottom line is, if you were any worse at crime, you'd be running for Congress. Now, giving Uloma the title of criminal is too good for her. Uloma isn't a criminal. She's a case study. That's all she gets from me. That she is one of the worst human beings, most despicable, insane, ridiculous, I'm calling a dumbass human beings that I've ever met in my life. And it's not just because she thought she had something and then she didn't have it and things like that. It's not because of how she decided to do it and who she hired and how it was very obvious to track. It is because she gave up the best thing that could have ever happened to her, and that is William Walker. And that was the most dumb as shit thing that she ever could have done. He would have helped her with anything, including her financial stuff. 100% he would have. And yet, here we are. So,
I mean, I like calling her a case study. I do like that because I was going to say she's not just a murderer, because she's also a master manipulator and a liar, because it takes a special kind of evil to not only deceive someone into marriage, like by saying you're pregnant or something, but to do it under the false pretense of that you have stage 4 breast cancer. And then you turn around and orchestrate their murder for money because you're in debt. File bankruptcy, for God's sake. But what makes this case even more infuriating to me is that she didn't even get her own hands dirty. Okay. She preyed upon young, impressionable people, manipulated them, including her own daughter. I mean, and convinced them to carry out her sick plan. Like we said earlier, this wasn't a crime of passion or desperation. This was cold, calculated, and fueled by nothing but greed. Like you said, Will was a great guy. He was a devoted husband and firefighter. He would have helped her with the financial situation. He would, I'm sure, have said, hey, I will take on some extra jobs. I will pull some more shifts. We'll put retirement off. Don't worry about it. We will find a way. I mean, she could be living some of her best life if she would have just been honest and done that. I mean, and guys, sorry, she is a dumbass. A life insurance policy she wasn't even the beneficiary of. Okay. She had no remorse, no hesitation. She just wanted money. And I tried to find what she did with the $50,000 she did get to see if she got herself out
moved to
of
North
debt at all.
Carolina.
I mean, but justice caught up with her, and she's going to spend the rest of her life behind bars. And you guys can get mad at me, but I personally think she deserved the death penalty. But you got to remember, I'm a Texas girl. And I believe in the death penalty if we can absolutely prove that the person did it and it's not a circumstantial case, because she killed a hero, a man who every day that he went to work put his life on the line to save others. She doesn't deserve to get to spend her time in jail. But that's my 2 cents.
Agreed. And now I'm going to ask you for your 5 cents, but the Cliff Notes version of it regarding Chase.
Oh boy.
Just 5 cents.
So,
Cliff's version. I
okay.
don't know Cliff, but his notes.
Basically, for people who stayed around, basically, if you've seen Facebook, if you live in the area, there's chatter going on, and we're getting tips that Addison and Matt are involved. And when I say they are involved, I mean they know what happened to Chase. There has been a guy posting on Facebook saying that Addison is responsible. And there's a whole lot of stuff going on. I can't get into specifics on the exact tips because we are still investigating them. But the common thread is, even 2 years into this investigation, it's still all leading to Matt and Addison. And I won't get into my passionate plea again, because I'm going to try not to get emotional, because now I've had wine. Addison and Matt like to say they're Chase's friend. Addison likes to say they were best friends. Chase was in Addison's wedding. But they have not done a damn thing to help us find Chase. And the rumor on the street is that they know. You know, I'm not saying that either one of them killed him. Okay. But they know. And the fact that their parents themselves are not doing the right thing to give his family the peace that they deserve is beyond, I don't know. I'm going to just say it puts them up there with Uloma in my book. It's as bad as her faking her cancer, blaming her daughter. These two men grew up with Chase, said that they were his friends, and where are they trying to help us? If they truly know, they could call our tip line anonymously, just like anybody else. My God, use a fake voice. There are apps on your phone that will disguise your voice. But I want y'all to stop and think about this. If I go to bed several nights a month wondering where Chase is, and I think about it and I get emotional, can you imagine what his family members are doing? It's every night. And the fact that these two people haven't told, I also believe other people in Crosby and Barrett Station in Houston know. It's a rumor mill town. So even if you've heard a rumor, don't think that somebody's going to call us and tell us. Call us and tell us that rumor, because in every rumor, there's just a little bit of truth in it. And it could be that one thing that we need. We have cadaver dogs ready to go. We have search teams ready. We have funds that we've set aside for this, that call us, tell us where he is. Let us go find him and bring him home. 8 years this July. And I honestly, when we started this, I jokingly made a comment that I hope we find him within 2 years. I would like to wrap this up before I turn 55, and I'm going to be 55 in July. And
minus 30 years.
I'm going to be 55. I'm going to be 55. As a cancer survivor, I love it because the doctor said I would never live past 40. So, peace out, doctor. You were wrong.
I would have never met you. I fucking hate that doctor. Excuse my French.
I got lucky. But so it's important to me because Chase's parents aren't getting any younger either. And they deserve to go to bed and have the peace that their son has been buried and they get to say goodbye. Okay. Now, with that, I am pretty sure that some of the tips are that he's in water. Okay. If he was put in water and went out to the Gulf, we're smart enough to know we won't find him. But kind of like Natalie Holloway's parents is who I think of. At least they came forward and gave the exact information about what happened to her. Okay. Even if they can't get him back, at least there is a smidge of something in it for them to know what happened to him. And guys, and y'all are going to laugh, but also what happened to Champ, because not only did these people kill a great young man who made some bad decisions. I have never said Chase was an angel like me or like I pretend to be. He made some bad decisions. He got involved with selling drugs with his high school friend. They also killed an innocent dog, because you can't tell me they didn't kill Champ. Champ was Chase's baby, his son. I mean, that tells you what kind of people they are. And if you know, and if it's a rumor, you are doing nothing but protecting the bad guys by not calling it in. Okay? If you want to be a good person, you should call, because to have your soul saved, you need to speak up and do the right thing. And I said earlier, call in a tip. You can do it anonymously. You can send us DMs. If you talk to us, we change your name and you are given, if you're a female, a Jane Doe and a number. I think we're up to number 27 on Jane Does. That tells you we've talked to 26 females. The males, it's much higher. I do that because I don't want to remember which person told me what. And if we get subpoenaed, I want to protect people because if there's drugs involved, I don't want people to get hurt. I will also say I will go above and beyond to help make sure you and your family are safe. Okay? Because everybody knows this is a big case in the area. And the fact that multiple different people have told us that Addison and Matt know. And if you saw one of our earlier episodes on this, Matt even asked for protection at one point. And then when they said, we can't guarantee you anything till we know what you know, he hasn't spoken to law enforcement again. You wouldn't ask that question if you didn't know. And
Right.
Matt, Addison are both parents. They both have kids. Think about if it was your child. If you don't want to think of Chase as a friend, think about it with your child because karma's a bitch. Karma is a bitch. I would not want karma to come for one of your kids. So do the right thing
No.
so you can get some good karma.
And I'm going to make one comment, and then I'm going to go into basically the side effects announcer version of just some of our things that are coming up. In other words, you know you're going to get diarrhea from this medicine, but I'm going to tell you anyways. That guy.
Well, before you do that, I do want to say,
Okay.
as we continue investigating these tips, we will have another update. I can tell you, with having the cadaver dogs, we are set and ready to do searches. Somebody just tell us
Awesome.
where.
Yep. All right. So here you go. On Sunday, March 23rd, we have Zizian's episode 3. You're going to learn more about Ziz, the leader of the cult, as well as the cult itself. And it is the rationalist rat fleet. It's crazy. They're on a boat. They're in the middle. It's wild. So you can check out the playlist on Zizian's and kind of catch up. And then we will be ready to go Sunday. On next Thursday, we have episode 8 of season 5 of the show. It's called The Pastor, His Wife, and a Deadly Secret. What really happened, the truth behind Christy Evans' crime. That is March 27th. Again, as I said in the beginning, every time it's 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And then if you have any case suggestions, we love to do things that you all want to hear about. So maybe you know a lot about the case or you don't know a lot about a case and you want to know about it. Please, please, please email producer Tara at tcwtmedia.com. And she would love to get those and then field those. And then we'll get them into the script. You know, we're not past kind of pushing things around. I'm not saying it'll be the next week because we need time to figure it out. But what I'm saying is we will absolutely consider it.
Well, and the other thing we need to remember, I do Midday Missing every Monday and Wednesday. Yes, I am extremely passionate about Chase's case because I'm personally invested, but I highlight missing person cases on Midday Missing because it breaks my heart how many families are out there dealing with this.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And there is nobody more genuine than both Terry and AP Amy, who helps Terry on that show. And so that is Mondays and Wednesdays. I think it's noon Central, 1 Eastern.
It's noon Texas time.
It's noon Texas time. And so definitely check that out. There's a lot of great stuff. There are wonderful interviews with families. They're hard to hear, but they're so important to get out there. Finally, just a reminder, if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's huge. It really helps us out. I know it makes no sense. We don't get it either. Those of us that create content on YouTube, the algorithms right over the head. We just know that it helps. So please, please, please hit that. That is a hugely helpful thing. We really appreciate the fact that so many people have tuned into us tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think Terry's got something else to say.
And if you're listening to this on our podcast, because we do release True Crime and Wine Time on the podcast apps, please go and rate us on whatever app, if it's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, whatever it is, rate us, because apparently they do some kind of algorithm magic as well, just like YouTube. But we release Midday Missing and True Crime and Wine Time on all of the podcast apps under True Crime and Wine Time.
Absolutely. And you can find us on all social media, True Crime and Wine Time or TCWT Media, because this is a production of TCWT Media. We really appreciate you being there. And then really quickly, I will answer this right now. Wine at noon, 100%. Wine all the time.
No, I do not drink wine at noon, individual people. I do not, because believe it or not, guys, I have a day job and I cannot but I do drink sparkling water with the simple syrup rosé syrup in it. So I feel like I am drinking a sparkling rosé and getting hydrated. So I do drink fake wine. Does that count?
In short, if you wonder who Terry and JT are off camera, it's the same. There's no difference whatsoever. And with that, I think we'll sign off. What do you think, Terry?
I think so. And if you want more of this craziness and that craziness, you should come to one of our live shows. We've got a couple coming up this year that we are working on. And I will tell you, we're 10 times funnier in person. And we are working on one in Crosby for this summer. So I will be honest, I am hoping that we find Chase by then and we don't have to do it. But if not, we are, I will be in Crosby doing that. Also, don't just follow the podcast True Crime and Wine Time. Follow JT and I too, because let me tell you, individually, we are even just as funny. True crime, on Terry True Crime, I even talked about my snake bite this weekend. And I will find roaches that are flying.
Y'all don't see this, but I see producer Tara on my other screen going, okay, sure, y'all.
Snakes and roaches. But I just want to say,
oh my gosh,
thank you. What?
No, go ahead.
You can't. You're like, I can't. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. And guys, I want you to stay safe, stay aware. If you see something or you know something, speak up, because keeping silent, you are protecting the bad guys. Okay? So, and enjoy your wine time. My glass is empty.
Oh,
but I didn't drink the whole bottle
then that
tonight.
Means I did. You can't see it.
I
but
did not.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Come back and see us on Sunday and then Thursday and also Monday and Wednesday. It's a party.
And we'll be in costume on Sunday.
That's right. We will be in costume on Sunday. Now we're committed. Producer Tara, you're committed too. That's it.
Oh, because we're going to have pickle. So for those of you that don't know, we will have a special guest on Sunday because Pickle Tits will be with us.
So yes, you don't know Pickle Tits, but you will know Pickle Tits. We're not going to tell you who Pickle Tits is, but Pickle Tits will be with us on Sunday, and you'll have to tune in on Sunday. Right. Boy, producer Tara didn't know she was going to be our big selling point for Sunday, did you? So I'm going to close out right now before we get in more trouble. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Please, please, please take care of yourselves, your friends, your family, and your community. And I genuinely mean that. We need good people right now. Do not let anybody dull that sparkle, and shine on all you crazy diamonds. We will see you on Sunday. Bye, everybody.